The White House may claim executive privilege to keep parts of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report from being shared with the public and Democrats in Congress, it was revealed on Monday. But such a move would likely spark a legal battle that would go all the way to the Supreme Court. Mueller is said to be in the final stages of his investigation into Russia's role in the 2016 election and whether or not President Donald Trump's campaign colluded with Moscow, a charge the president has repeatedly denied. But once he submits his findings to the Justice Department, which could happen as soon as February, things could get complicated. Democrats, who control the House of Representatives, will demand the report be handed over and likely use their subpoena power to make it happen. But the White House could counter their demand by asserting executive privilege, Bloomberg News reported. Trump and his legal team expect to get an advance look at the findings. They may use executive privilege to hold back any information related to Trump's time in the White House or during the transition once they see what is in the report. We will look at it and see if the president thinks there is a valid claim, and if there is, do we want to make it? Trump's lawyer Rudy Giuliani told Bloomberg News. We reserve the right. We don't know if we have to, but we haven't waived it. Giuliani said they would be willing to fight in court to preserve material that they considered privileged. Mueller is only required to submit his report to the Justice Department. His supervisor there, who currently is Acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker, decides what to do with it. If William Barr, Trump's nominee for Attorney General, is confirmed by the time Mueller submits his report, Barr would make decisions on it. But Democrats do have a countermove. They could call on him to testify before Congress and simply ask what is in his report in a public hearing. Trump can't stop Mueller from going to Congress and talking about everything that's in his report, John Dean, a former counselor to Richard Nixon, told Bloomberg. The White House voluntarily handed over tens of thousands of pages of records to Mueller's team and believe, by avoiding a subpoena fight, it gives them the option to assert executive privilege later to argue the information shouldn't be shared outside of the executive branch. The Supreme Court addressed the issue of executive privilege in 1974 in the case of United States v. Nixon. The case addressed a demand by Watergate Special Prosecutor Archibald Cox that President Richard Nixon produce the audio tapes of conversations he and his colleagues had in the Oval Office. Nixon invoked the privilege and refused to produce the tapes. The Supreme Court did not reject the claim of privilege out of hand, but did rule the larger public interest in obtaining the truth took precedence and ordered Nixon to hand them over. Other presidents have also used it. In 1998, President Bill Clinton became the first president since Nixon to lose on the matter in court, when a federal judge ruled that Clinton aides could be called to testify in the Monica Lewinsky scandal. President George W. Bush invoked executive privilege to refuse to disclose Vice President Dick Cheney's meetings with energy executives, which was not challenged in court. He also used it to keep aide Karl Rove from testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee in a probe over fired federal prosecutors. President Barack Obama used it to withhold certain documents related to the Operation Fast and Furious gun walking controversy. Former White House counsel John Dean told Bloomberg News that executive privilege could be a successful stalling tactic that could tee it up in the lower courts for a couple of years. That could keep the report from being made public before the 2020 presidential election. But there are other reasons besides executive privilege that could keep portions of Mueller's report from seeing the light of day. U.S. intelligence agencies are likely to want to redact material related to classified matters. Additionally, Mueller and Justice Department lawyers are required to withhold information that pertains to grand jury proceedings or ongoing